Hi, it's Sam here. Today what I'm going to have a look at is a way of moving the puppet without using an Adobe Character Animator walk behavior. So there is a walk behavior, but you have to set up the puppet in a certain way for that to work. So we're not going to use that today. I'm going to do something that makes it look like he's walking. Basically that involves making the puppet bob up and down. So back in episode 9, we used some linear blends to make the puppet move from one location to another. So we're going to use that again, but we're going to add a bobbing motion on the top. So let's jump into it. Okay, so we're going to jump over to our Wookie scene, and I dropped in a background image already. So here we've got our Wookie, and for him to walk across the scene, what we'd normally do is I'm going to use position X and Y to make him, I'm just going to move position X, so I'm going to arm X. If I hold down Control, it deselects everything, and then I go back and turn position X back on, and then I'm going to drag that across, move over to there, and start a record. I don't need to let it finish. I don't need the audio track here, so I'm just going to delete that. I'm going to extend it out over 5 seconds, say, grab that top corner, and that's going to do a blend. So it moves across. Now it goes slow at the start and the end. If I enable work area, I can then easily restrict it just to this area. So I'm actually going to go with a straight blend. So let's just move it over a little bit, make it extend a little bit longer. It's going to start moving and then abruptly stop moving. Oops. Except because my recording stopped, it went back to the original location because my recording overrides the X value, but I'd actually stopped the recording, so when I went beyond that, it went back to the default value of the puppet. So now it should work. Cool. So what I'm going to do though is to make it add a bit more of a feel to the puppet. So I'm not moving the legs or anything fancy like that. But what I'm going to start doing is here, I'm going to turn off that, and I'm going to make him go up a little bit. Just going to record that. Now I can grab here to zoom in a little bit. So what I tend to find is about, what I'm after is about 0.7 or 0.6 of a second. Something around about that long. Bring it back to the beginning. It's possibly still a little bit too long. So I'm going to shrink it down a little bit more. And then I'm going to blend at the start and blend at the end. So it goes in a bit of a hump. And then I line that up with the start of the recording. So what happens is you can see that sort of hump. And you want to get that. You got to think about how long you want it to. Okay. So you can see him sort of bump up and down. So what I'm then going to do is Control D. I selected it, did Control D, and it duplicates it. So I'm going to just drag that duplicate along, drag along, drag along, drag along. Maybe a more efficient way to do it. I don't know what it is. Drag along. Okay, I'm going to zoom back out again. Now you can also collapse this, and then they all appear in one line, so it's easy to see the other one. So I've got to go to there. It's around about there, so I've got to do a few more. Cool. Now to make them line up, I'm going to take that blend, so they both line up around about the end. Cool. So go back to start, and now what we've got At least it looks like he's working a little bit better. So that's just a pretty simple way. And so what I'm doing, expand this back out, is I'm just blending the Y value from its default to a value that was just a little bit higher. Now these got a little back to front, doesn't really matter. So I just recorded a little Y value that's a bit higher, and then I used the blend in and the blend out. So it smoothly went up and smoothly went down. And this one I do use the curves. A linear doesn't look as good. It just should be a nice curve there. And by grabbing both ends of that, if I undo it, it would just be, it looks strange. So like if you can see, you just went straight up, straight down, and it just looks strange. So you really want to get the nice blends to get that nice curvy sort of graceful up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down sort of look. And then, as I said, I often click this thing to collapse just to keep the height easier in this panel here. So that's the first sort of work. Now, another one you can do is if I delete the X, and what I'm going to do is move him in the middle, then I am going to record a scale. So I've armed the scale. So if I disarm it, the default value for this puppet in this scene is 36. It's not the default for the puppet. I've actually overridden this within this scene, which you can see by the X there. So if I hit the X, that's what the default for the puppet is. But for this scene, his default is 36. And so if when I arm this and I change the scale, this is going to be what it is afterwards. So I'm going to record that. And I'm just going to manually drag it out to the right length. Now this one, it makes more sense to have no easing, just to go straight from the old position to the new one. And so it looks like he's walking towards the camera. And so, oops, I forgot to drag that out at the end again. So just by using the scale, it looks like he's coming towards the camera. Now you can record values for like, you might notice he's a little bit off center. Oh, well, we can fix that too. So because I'm using position Y to make him bob up and down, I'm going to record these two. And so they were the defaults before, so I've armed them now. And where do I want him to end up? I want him to end up a little bit more over that way, maybe just a little bit higher. And it's a little bit awkward because can't see the scale easily. If I just record that new value, drag it out, and then do the blend and set them to no easing, so it's a straight line. And now I managed to get that reasonably accurate. So it's actually changing the Y value. But you see the scale was slightly off center, so the scale was making him move slightly to the side. And so by doing this as a blend, you can see his head height's going up. And I'm keeping his head closer to the middle of the screen. Now, so that's another variation. I've made him walk towards the camera. And there's one other variation that I thought would be a bit of fun to do. And I'm going to get rid of the scale and these other XY blends. And so this is bobbing on the spot, but I'm going to change his default scale. I'm going to make him a bit bigger by default. I'm going to turn off those recordings. Put him in the middle. And then I'm going to come down to the background. And there's a little bit of a you see he's got this row of chairs, so I want him to come down the middle of this row of chairs. So what I'm going to do is I've got the scale here, and I'm going to line up here. Okay, and now I'm going to record another scale value. This time, I'm going to zoom the background so it looks like he's walking forward in the classroom. Record. And I don't need to worry about it, just drag it way out over there. Take the blend to end of the bobbing ends. I'm going to set no easing so it's a linear sort of thing, and let's see how it looks. And so you get another sort of walking effect. This time it looks like he's walking towards the camera, even though the puppet's not changing size. And all of them are just using this little recording of the Y value being slightly higher with a blend in and out just to make him bob up and down. Well, I hope that was useful. There's just a few little tricks I often use just to doing simple walking, and I often hide the legs because it looks a bit funny when his legs aren't moving, but you can just take a torso shot. Cool. That is all I wanted to say in this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.